everyone, it's Jack and Ross back again for the second news video of the day, because there's just so much news we couldn't fit it into one video. There's just so much.
Oh my god, yeah, so much to cram in there. Come on.
Let's look at the headlines. First of all, a WWE Superstar has apparently been injured at WrestleMania Backlash. Next up, WWE are reportedly set to introduce new sets for Raw and SmackDown very, very soon. And finally, a very unusual match has been booked for this week's AEW Dynamite. More on that later on. So, Ross, first of all, yes, slightly unfortunate news for a certain WWE superstar who was said to have been injured during his match at Backlash. It is none other than The Miz, who, according to Figure 4 Weekly Online, sustained a knee injury during his lumberjack match with Damian Priest, the zombie match that we all remember with Damian Priest. However, we don't know how severe it is yet. There's been no word on that, or indeed whether he'll miss any action, although he was kept off last night's Raw, possibly as a precaution, or possibly just to follow on with the story that we saw unfold at Backlash. So, I mean, needless to say, we wish him a very quick recovery, but we don't actually know how much recovering there is that needs to be done yet, if that makes sense.
The timing of this couldn't have been better for The Miz, because if he did get injured, what does it matter now? Because he is a zombie. You get bitten by a zombie, you become a zombie. That's just how zombieism works.
That's very true indeed. He was mentioned on last night's Raw by John Morrison, saying he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't think he'll be the same after what happened on Sunday night. But then Miz was active on Twitter, making a bit of a joke of the whole situation, saying, "I'm fine," and then posting a photo of himself as a zombie. What's he like?
That must have been Maurice taking control of his social media, because I doubt that zombies know how to work phones.
Yeah, they're not the most dexterous. Fine motor skills aren't their strong point, unfortunately.
But to be fair, I was going to say, it's interesting to see, because it was clear at which point it did happen in the match, and he just carried on. And I find that old school mentality of wrestlers very baffling, because if I got injured, I'd be down, I'd be crying, I'd be saying, "Ma'am, get me to the nearest hospital, I want a lollipop." But they carry on working, these wrestlers.
I like the slightly changing mentality, because we saw Humberto Carrillo not carry on, and I thought, fair play to him, and I hope he didn't get any stick for that.
It is stupid, isn't it, the macho-ness of, we must work through our injuries because we're hard and tough.
I know, it is very, very silly. But you know what? I can't judge anyone for doing that in the heat of the moment. Maybe Miz didn't realise he was injured. Maybe the adrenaline was carried. I didn't see it. Did you see where it happened?
It was sort of 3/4 of the way through. I forget which move it was, but you just saw him sort of hobbling a bit. It was sort of like an impact injury in a football game. What football game was I watching last night where someone got an injury? Anyway, it was Ivan Toney for Brentford.
Oh, yes.
He was
formerly
hobbling.
of Newcastle United.
It was sort of hobbling like Ivan Toney was, yeah. Everyone will get that watching in America, obviously. Big fan of the championship playoffs.
I want Brentford to go up, because they seem like, I've just not seen them before. They've not been in the Premier League before, and I just think they're quite exciting, but it doesn't look like they're going to at the moment anyway. Just little
This is the news, not the podcast. This is the news, not the podcast.
Sorry, yes, absolutely. And moving swiftly on. According to Andrew Zarian of Mat Men on Twitter, WWE are set to introduce new sets, plural. So he said things are getting set for a refresh soon, and he even put set in capital letters so that everyone got it. Not everyone got it, even though it was above a picture of the Raw set. And then he had to put, for those who didn't get it, new sets are coming soon. But he didn't say set, he said sets, which makes people think that maybe there's going to be new sets for both Raw and SmackDown heading forwards. Again, he didn't specify a time frame, much like the Miz story. We don't actually know the time of this, but people have been speculating that maybe it could be soon. One person speculating, in fact, was one of our own news writers. Might have been Aiden, might have been Justin, I can't quite remember which one it was, but on our very website, they've been speculating that it could be very soon, with fans returning in the summer, maybe even as soon as Money in the Bank, perhaps. What do you want to see from the news? You're the stage and set expert at Cultaholic here, or the enthusiast, should I say? What do you want to see from it?
Yeah, I do like a good set, but I hope they're different. That's all I hope, because LED screens are all fine. I understand why they have to do it, because we're now in the HD TV world, and apparently the physical sets of the Attitude Era and whatnot would just look rubbish in HD TV world. So I understand why we have to have the LED screens. I just hope they look very different to one another. I want Raw and SmackDown to have very different feels, which they do in terms of what we see, because SmackDown's a very tight, a very palatable, a very good wrestling show, and Raw is not. So let's mirror that in the sets. Let's have Raws just be a jelly, and let's have SmackDowns be something cool and dynamic.
Do you think that, well, you just mentioned there that the big physical sets, I was about to be like, do you want the fist back? But the fist, I guess, probably wouldn't work then.
You get your
HD
CGI fist now, Jack, and you shut up.
It's not the same.
It's not the same,
just
no.
not the same.
Not the same as a physical fist, eh?
But we'll keep an eye out for those sets, fists included or not. But WWE haven't yet commented upon it. One thing that they've also not commented on, but which has made the news today, is that they've kept quiet on the absence of a certain Keith Lee. Mike Johnson of PW Insider has been doing some digging and is suggesting that it is not a health issue, more perhaps on the creative side of things, saying, I've never been able to get a full answer on what happened to Keith Lee. I've been led to believe it's more of a creative thing than an injury thing, and they just, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I don't know what the full story is, but they're not using him. He goes on to say whether he just fell foul of Vince McMahon somehow, or there is something going on that they're keeping close to the vest. Close to the vest? Is that a
chest?
Yeah, surely, maybe it's a typo. Which is always possible, says Mike Johnson. He goes on, I can't get a clear read on it, and whoever it is close to him, who knows the deal? They're not talking. Very mysterious indeed, Ross.
It is indeed. I was just sat there watching that triple threat, the manly men triple threat at WrestleMania Backlash, thinking just Keith would be so much of a good fit in this matchup, and they would take the match, which is already fantastic, to a completely new stratosphere-licious.
Yes.
But yeah, it is weird how they have literally, I'm going to go there, Jack, they've forgotten about Keith.
They actually have.
Yeah.
And despite repeated warnings from you and Tom Campbell, they have forgotten about Keith, which is very, very sad because he's a very talented man. And one of the most baffling aspects of this story for me was the whole rumour, or was it a rumour? The whole thing about him being amongst the people sent back to the Performance Centre to learn how to work and that. He's a brilliant wrestler anyway. I couldn't
in
understand
hindsight,
it.
I don't mind that looking back. It's just like if they want the wrestlers to be a certain way and they just need a little bit of fine-tuning here and there to get a little bit better at what they want from it. I don't really mind that in hindsight because it was just weird seeing Keith Lee's name lumped in there with, I don't know if Babatunde was on there, I forget who was on the list of names back in the day. Yeah,
very green wrestlers, green lads.
Just get him turned heel because it's inevitable, because this is just my perception of the way Keith Lee's been presented on the main roster so far. I reckon Vince McMahon sees Keith Lee speaking very eloquently and very sort of condescendingly, and I think he's going to turn him heel.
Maybe.
He's got that sort of tone, hasn't he, Keith, when he speaks? Like, oh, I'm a bit more. I'm a flamboyant man, and I can use long words and.
Like Chris Eubank.
Yes.
you almost drifted into Chris Eubank there, but Keith's obviously not like Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank puts it on. Did you know this?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, no, he doesn't. We're keeping Boxing Fame alive. Where was I? Oh, yes. Moving on now to Bayley, because she's been full of praise recently for an AEW star. She was doing an interview with the New York Post, very fancy for Bayley there, and she was asked about Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Bayley said, I love Britt. She said she's awesome and everything she's doing is really cool and I can't even hate on her. I've heard a podcast where she talked about it. Now, it is the fact that they are both doing this whole role model thing. They both call themselves role models, basing their whole heel persona around it. But Bayley says, I can't even hate on it. There's no hard feelings at all. There's no disrespect. And I only want what's best for her because as a role model, that's how you're supposed to react to these type of things. She's slipping a bit of character in there. That's all good from Bayley. And she's put, so yes, go get him, Britt Baker. And I like this story. I think it's very nice.
I know exactly why Bayley's gone down this route of saying you can't really have a go at it. And it's because Eva Marie's on the scene now. Eva Marie's taken the role model shtick and she's taken it to all new heights because she is the super role model.
Yeah.
Is Eva Marie's current shtick irony? I can't work it out. I hope it is, because there's no way in any sort of world that wrestling fans like me can see Eva Marie and think, wow, you're relatable, I like you.
I honestly think, and I hope it's not true, but I honestly think that these vignettes are trying to make her a face. I think that the way they've made her say things like, hey, I might be a model, but it takes 99 photos for me to get a good one.
It doesn't like it.
No,
just
it doesn't.
takes you go, whoa!
Absolutely
Snap.
lying.
It's done in one.
Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway, but I think they are trying to turn her face. So I'll be interested to see what the reaction's like when the fans are back in. Yeah. Moving on now to our final story, and a very unusual match is set for AEW Dynamite this week as Hikaru Shida, of course the AEW Women's Champion, takes on Rebel, or Reba, Dr. Britt Baker's sidekick. assistant. Was she like a makeup artist or reception? No, her
Best
real
friend in the entire world.
Yes, she actually did do that. She actually is a makeup artist. I've mixed up her real. Yes, that's right. Her best friend in the entire world, and she'll be taking on Hikaru Shida in I think it's a championship eliminator match, which means that if Rebel wins, then she'll get a title match, which I can't see happening. I don't know, actually, now that I've said that. It could happen.
Britt Baker will get involved and it'll be a DQ, and Rebel will cry because she's not going to be in the title picture. But does she want to be in the title picture? She has her crutch. What more does she need?
Yeah, I guess so. Tell you what I learned recently, and it made me feel just so inactive for a young man. It made me feel terrible about myself. Rebel, who's in fantastic shape, I think is 42 years
Get
old.
out of town.
I know. I felt.
She looks about 18, Jack.
It made me feel awful about myself. It made me think I should just be doing better with my life. But yes, she'll be taking on Hikaru Shida, and best of luck to her. And also, just a really brief one right at the end as well. John Moxley's autobiography, Mox, has a release date set. That is set to come out on the 2nd of November this year. So still a little bit of a wait, but it is available for pre-order now. So let us know what you think of that, and indeed any of these news stories in the comments section down below. And thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay positive out there, and we will see you very soon.